Kia ora, good evening, and welcome to the 92nd episode of the Huddy Hui. And we're getting to the business end now. It's the prelim semi-finals of the Hardham and Jubilee Cup. And we've got some real crackers of games coming up. Of course, there's a Ranfurly Shield match on today. We'll talk about that later. And also, we'll talk about what games we're covering in the semi-finals this weekend as well. But our guest tonight, he was supposed to come on last Wednesday, but he lost his voice. He wasn't feeling too well. Jacob Warmsley is on the Huddy Hui. Finally, Jacob, great to have you on. How's your health?
Yeah, no, feeling a lot better. Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it.
And how's the team looking heading into the semi-final this Saturday, having a week off? Because I think it came at a good time for Javel.
Yeah, it did for a lot of us. There were a few niggles, but I think everyone's feeling pretty healthy. And yeah, we had a really good training last night. Everyone's really there's a real buzz around the team at the moment. Really excited to be heading into the semi-final. Sort of unprecedented for us. A few of us have been there before for other clubs, but no one for Javel.
So let's talk about Houston Park. How's the field holding up, particularly with all the rain we've had?
Yeah, no, it's not too bad on top. There's a few sandy patches that are filled in the potholes, so a few grazes expected on the weekend, as normal. But no, other than that, it's a bit pretty much the second best park in Wellington, I'd say.
Well, it's got the best viewing stand alongside the Batoni Rec, but that's closed at the moment for earthquake works. You wouldn't see that at Houston Park.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. What have been some of the key focuses on at training this week?
Oh, just playing our normal game, really, and letting things flow like we like to, you know. A big focus on not shelling up too much and letting the occasion get to you, because our sort of style is what's got us here to begin with, so we don't want to change that now.
Old Boys University, you played 2 weeks ago, and when you beat them in the regular season, that stunned a lot of people, but you backed it up with an impressive win 2 weeks ago. You simply knocked them out of the park. Tell us about that quarter-final against Old Boys University.
Yeah, man, that was actually the start of my sickness. I was feeling pretty rough before that game, to be honest. I barely got through it, and then yeah, I really paid for that one afterwards. I didn't go to work the whole next week. I was ruined. But it was really fun. It was a really good game. I think the way we performed, just sort of everything we've been trying to do for the last. We had a few sort of rougher patches at the end of Swindale, but that game sort of brought together everything we'd been trying to do as a team for the whole season, and we really gelled and connected, and I think we had a really good build-up. And by half-time, the score wasn't huge, but it was a comfortable lead, and we sort of just went into that second half with a lot of energy and a lot of confidence that we were going to close that one out. So it was, yeah, it's a good game to be part of.
In round 12 of the Swindale Shield, there was a big day for the club. It was Old Timers Day. There was a hell of a lot of achievements that were presented that night, including yourself. Tell us what was special about that day.
Yeah, that was the 100th game celebration for myself. Long time coming. It was a bit of a grind of a century, mate. There was a few, there was some pretty rough times early into those 100 games. So I'm really pleased to have stuck with it now. I had a break in the middle there for a couple of seasons, but back now and really happy to be a part of where the club's at.
And your 100th game, what was your feelings leading into it? And how special was it for you and your family?
Yeah, I think my family is a huge part of the club. My mum and dad probably, you know, they work tirelessly down there. Mum's always in the kitchen, Dad's always down every Sunday, like cleaning up the changing rooms and that. It's just, it's so much a part of my DNA, those club rooms. My parents even met on the committee in like '96. That's how they met. Like,
oh wow!
Yeah, they met on the committee of Jacob Rugby Club, and yeah, so it was incredibly special. It's been a long time building up to that moment, but really, you just feel like, you know, playing the games in a lot of ways is the easy job. Like, you get And away you play 100 games for the club, and away everyone comes together, makes the club a thing, makes it what it is, and then you get to play 100 games of the game you love. So it's just, yeah, it was pretty special.
And you mentioned your parents there, loyal servants to the club. I believe the family even goes a bit further back with the history of Johnsonville.
A bit further back than my parents?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think my dad moved from Rotorua, I think, when he first came to Jabil, and he was in his 30s or something when he did that. I don't think it goes back further than that.
Oh, good. So your debut goes back to April 2016. Ironically, you played Oriental Rongotai that day.
Far out.
How can you remember your debut, and what was it like running out for your first game?
Man, I absolutely cannot remember my debut.
It's not concussion.
Yeah, no, it was just the first. I got to be honest, man. The first couple of years, the first 2 seasons, there were not a lot of W's, and so it didn't matter who you were playing. There were a lot of it blends together in my memory because it was a lot of the same. Unfortunately, it was a grind to get out of that period for our team. So, but it still meant a lot to me to be playing. I remember that year like it was super special because I had 1 year at Colts out of school, and I think I was 18 or 19 when I was made that debut. So I was still really young, but it was more of a symptom of, unfortunately, we were at the time, we were struggling, and we were dipping into those lower grades, which was me at the time, being picked out of the Colts. And yeah, it meant a lot to me. It did mean a lot to me to run out for the first time, because I think it was my first start as well. And sort of made the 14 jersey mine for that season, and then eventually moved to fullback more permanently. But no, it was like I say, it's a while ago now. 2016 now, and it sort of did blend together a bit.
So Johnsonville have been a revelation this year, as we've already alluded to, alongside you guys and Parramatta Plymerton. What has been the key to success with this team?
There's a lot of things with that. We've had this year is our 3rd year with the same coaching group, or 4th year with the same coaching group, which hadn't happened for a long time. We would, there were people coming in and out of our coaching and management picture, and we've had a few really key returning players this year, like Anthony Pettit, who had his debut for the Lions today. So shout out to Anthony. And we had Andy Ellis return to the club after another year off. He hit a gap as well. We had a couple of fellas a couple of recruits from the UK, mate. Finn Russell's been running outside for us on the wing, and oh god, they can kill me for this. There's another one. He's a big lad in the middle. But yeah, a couple of UK recruits combined with a couple of big lads coming back, big names coming back to the club. There was returning players as well as the key positions. The 10, 12, 13 being the same for a few years in a row, really getting the combinations together. But yeah, just that leadership and the coaching and being able to stay together and really build on a long-term plan for the club for the first time in a while, I think it's sort of culminating to what we're seeing this year.
Let's talk about your coaching staff. Tell us about them, and how important have they been keeping this team together for the last 3 years?
Man, it's been huge, especially, absolute Hawks veteran Andrew Whadakura, been around the club for a long time, as have all the Whadakuras really, but he was sort of one of the ones that really committed to this plan and sticking with it. And because there was times where the club was talking of being relegated out of Premier Rugby altogether, during that period. So, and he was one of the ones that they got together at the committees and the powers that be and decided that they were really going to stick with it, form this plan. And Dallas and Bubbles, Jason Adamson, they've known each other for a long time. They go back a long way, and you can see it and you can feel it. They're like an old married couple, those two. And it's just the culture that they bring together when those three, it's pretty special. Everyone really likes coming to training. It's like the perfect balance of serious and lighthearted, and it's just everyone enjoying each other's company, and that common goal just comes naturally because you'll just enjoy playing for each other.
You mentioned a few key players. Tell us about your 9-10 combination.
Yeah, there's been a couple of different ones this year, but it's mainly those the leprechauns, isn't it? They've been around a few years now. Mark Sutton and Niall Delahunt. I think they were initially, if I understand the story right, they were initially recruited by Andy Ellis, who went over to play in Ireland a few years ago, and they sort of followed him back, and they've been stuck here ever since. Yeah, well, I think they like it. I think they like it. But no, they're a couple of, well, they're like me. They're a couple of midgets, and they just sort of, you never know how they don't seem to know how small they are the way they play. They absolute hard on the sleeves, like get right into the physical stuff. They don't shy away from any hit. But no, they're great, man. Club personalities, absolute celebrities in Johnsonville. Like.
Only 2 losses this season, Batoni and Parramatta Plimpton. The Parramatta Plimpton game, you could have won if the last kick of the match wasn't in. Oh, there we go. The cat wants to join in too. But the last kick happened in complete darkness. Tell us about that game of Parramatta.
Well, that's what he tells everyone. Like that's what Mark says. I couldn't see the post. How could I have got it? It's a convenient one, isn't it? But no, we did start the game. What did we start that game? I think we didn't start playing until about 3:30. So because of an injury in the prior Premier's Reserve game. So I think, and unfortunately, that obviously got through the preparation of both teams quite a lot. I think it showed in that game. I think both teams played like a bit lower quality than they had been, and they have shown for the rest of the season, both us and Plimpton. So it probably wasn't the best game to watch, to be honest, but it was tense. But yeah, probably also really frustrating with the amount of errors and everything else that would have happened. But yeah, it was a tense one, and yeah, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. You can't win them all.
So it's Johnsonville. Oh, sorry.
No, he'll make the next one. Is all I said. Like next close game, Mark 100% back, and give him the team 100% of the time. Rest of the year we missed.
Since Johnsonville joined the expanded premiership in 2014, Johnsonville has been through it all. How's the club found the rebuild? Because you've been through a hell of a lot.
Yeah, I think the great thing about Johnsonville is that no matter what results were coming on the field, the community was still there. It was never that part was never gone. It was always strong. Old Timers Day has as many people now as it did in 2014, 15, 16 when we were losing and sort of a bit more in the trenches. The community's always been there. So the rebuild was more of a factor finding players than it was finding support. The support has been amazing the whole time, unwavering. There's always been strong President's Rugby and social teams like the Cripples and our Terra Hawks have always been really strong. So it's the backbone of the club was always there. There was always the platform to rebuild. It was always possible, but it's been good.
What has been your best game for the Hawks?
My personal best game, or just
Correct.
the one I've enjoyed the most?
Yeah, your personal best.
It's pretty hard to get past it 2 weeks ago. My first ever Jubilee Cup game. It was a privilege to be a part of. It really was. There was a real excitement at training that week, and just the competition for spots this year has been so tight. So it was a privilege to be a part of that game, and probably the most fun I've ever had, especially in the second half. Just playing that second 40 was just really something special. Being the first Jubilee Cup experience, so it's hard to look past that one.
So you've, in your career, been playing on the wing and fullback. What is your preferred position and why?
Probably, and this will be a surprise to absolutely no one, probably wing because you don't have to pass the ball as much.
Just have to catch it and score, pretty much.
Yeah, just catch and run, man, and that's what you do.
What has been your best try in Hawks colours?
My best try in Hawks colours. Man, I don't really score tries. I am more of a distributor, despite that last comment. No. I don't know. That's also a tough one. There was a time where the only tries we ever got were intercepts because we couldn't hold the ball long enough to actually mount an offense back in the day. I think maybe this year, even though I had nothing to really contribute except catch the ball and score the try, was against Tawa. We had a run out of our 22, which was the first time we'd beaten them since, like, I don't know. It was a long time, maybe.
I think it was about 18 years or something.
Yeah, 18 years, I think it was. It was some ridiculous number like that, man. Like, it was huge, And in that game, it was in the second half, and the rain, we were attacking the club rooms at Helston Park, and it started raining really badly in the second half, and it was just blowing right at us. And so we had to run a lot of ball, and they had a line out attacking our try line from the 22. They had a big ball carry off the first pod, off the line out, and Niall Delahunt, one of our leprechauns, stripped the ball from one of their forwards, found Finley on the wing, who had a crazy run, bumped off some giant guy that came across to smash him, and then from there it was just like all the way to the other wing, running down the other wing, and then set up at that corner, and then came all the way back to Finley's side. And about 3 phases, we made about 80 metres up the field and scored, and I was just happened to be on the end. So that was probably my favourite try, just because that probably went through literally everyone on the team to get there.
Where did you do your college studying?
College, Newlands College. Yeah, I've been in the suburb the whole time. Played my rugby at Newlands Junior Rugby Club. Got the hoodie on. And then, Newlands College Rugby. Played weight grade and first 15 eventually. Yeah.
And let's talk about Newlands College and first 15 rugby. Tell us about rugby there and the first 15.
Man, it's unfortunately not what it was when I was there. My last year, my year at year 13 was the last year I think we had a full first 15 rugby team. I think the last year I was there, I think we played Division 3 in Wellington. We weren't obviously like a super high achieving team in Wellington College Rugby, but we were always really proud, and it was a good team, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. There was a good culture. We had, the year I got there, we had 4 teams, and I played weight grade. But then by the time I finished, we only had the first and second 15. And then after we left, my year group left. That was kind of it. And I think now they've got a combined thing with Onslow College, which is good. It's looking stronger, like slowly rebuilding. It's good to see. But there was definitely a dark patch after my year group finished, unfortunately. But it's on the climb. It's on its way back. The Newlands Onslow Alliance has grown stronger, which used to be bitter rivals, the FA Cup and all that. But it's cultivating. It's getting there.
Who are some of the key characters in the team and at the club?
Oh man, the whole team is absolutely full of clowns. All of us, the European boys that we got the 2 Irish fellas, the 2 English fellas. They bring a whole different aspect. They drink very differently to Kiwis drink. None of them like keeping their clothes on. It's a whole thing. There's plenty, man. There's plenty. We got the classics on the scoreboard. My old man does the scoreboard with his mates down the end when we play at Helston Park. CD and Wally Smith and President Joe Smythe getting around in his blazer with his proud collection of badges. There's too many to name, man. I'd be here all night.
Have you achieved any representative honours in rugby?
No, not for a while. I played under 18 Centurions, and I played weight grade Centurions. I had an under 85 kg team for a year there. I jumped in on that, but I haven't played any rep grades properly since college. I sort of been in and out of the Centurions one or 2 years in a row. Sort of on the fringes of Wellington Sevens a couple of times, but nothing super consistent, man.
What do you do outside of rugby?
Outside of rugby, yeah. Avid snowboarder.
Oh, wow.
Really like getting up there. Yeah, after the season finishes, I'm always excited to hit the road and get up the two-door. Pleased to see it's open this year after the dramas they've had.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, so avid snowboarder. Just like, I never really stopped training. I always enjoy being in the gym and staying in shape. Same with me and my partner. Both joining on the weights at the moment, which is good. Yeah, big. I'm actually a big Pokemon guy too.
Oh, wow. Pokemon Go.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, for sure.
Is that game still going?
Hey?
Is it still
Yeah,
going?
it is. Yeah. Yeah, basically it got released the same year I was born, and it hasn't stopped since. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Jeez. Yeah, still going. So, Ories this Saturday. You played them in round 5 in a close one out there at Polo Ground. 29-26. What did the Hawks have to do? And who do you have to watch out for in the Ories team?
Yeah, well, they got they got a few threats, don't they? Really, they got a few big ball runners. They've never been short of that though. Ories, they've always had really good ball carrying forwards and centres. You know, wingers. It's across the board. They're full of threats. Particularly though, at the moment, obviously the boys that played for the Lions today, for them, I think Ropati and Halahilo, wasn't it?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, they played 6 and 7 today for the Lions. So those are obviously the names on the radar. But I mean, they've got that. Oh man, I trained with a couple of times actually with that Isaac. Is it their halfback? I can't remember his last name, but Isaac, their number 9.
Oh, Isaac Bracewell. Yeah.
Yeah, that fella, man. God damn, that dude can run. Like he has a hell of an engine, eh? That he just doesn't get tired. Like we were in Broncos at like a couple of Wellington trial things, and it was like you got like 420 something, man, like 422 or something ridiculous.
Oh
like
wow,
that.
Jeez.
Yeah, you can't let him have an inch of space because he'll take it. Like it'll disappear. But no, it's for us. It's just the only thing that made that game close, really. Is we sort of fell out of our game management in the second half, and we fell off, and characteristically fell off a few tackles. So it's just fronting on defense like it always is, you know, just first up tackles, and they got a really good offload game. So it's got a really double tackle, shut down the high and lows, one shot, one rep.
Ori and Tarongatai seem to be Johnsonville's great rivalry. You seem to, in Premier Rugby, since your inclusion, seem to score a few upset wins over them over the years. Yeah,
it was the first time I'd beaten them was this year though. It doesn't happen that often. So it's still, you know, we still view ourselves as the underdog. But a bit more confident than that going into this week. But it's because we play for the Ashpointon Cup whenever we play. Ashpointon was just a stalwart figure for both clubs, wasn't he? He played, I think, 150 games for Ories, and then moved out to the subs and played 100 games for Johnsonville. You know, absolute legend. The Pointon family's been a big part of both clubs, so there's always a lot of passion when these things play each other, man.
Helston Park has been a fortress this year. Let's talk about Hell Park and what it's going to look like this Saturday.
Yeah, probably, I think, because we had Old Timers Day was a massive crowd. When we played Parramatta Plymouth and just lost, it was a massive crowd. But I'm expecting this Saturday to potentially top them both for first Jubilee Semi-Final since, who knows at Hell Park. I don't even know. It can't have been this millennia, you know. That there's been a semi-final, home semi-final in the Jubilee Cup at Helston Park. So it's a pretty big occasion for the club, really big occasion for the team. It should be pretty loud. Even a couple of weeks ago, you know, it was deafening. Like that bank was going crazy. So it's it'll be a big one.
Can the Hawks go all the way to the JC and win it?
Yeah, well, you have to believe it, don't you? Like, if you're playing, you have to believe it. Like, there's no, and I think, especially this year, there's been a massive attitude shift in our team, and we sort of don't accept that we should lose to anyone. I think which is a big difference now. That mindset sort of, again, starts with Jason Adamson, the most passionate man I've ever met as my head coach. And yeah, we on the day we can beat anyone. We just got to play our game.
Well, Jacob, it's been fantastic having on the Hui tonight. All the best for your semi-final on Saturday, and we'll see you out there.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks very much. By the way, Regan, the other English guy, just so I don't finish the stream without saying his name. Regan, really sorry I forgot your name.
He'll let you know tomorrow night, probably.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll hear about it.
Yep. All good, Jacob. Have a good rest of your night.
Thanks, Brad. You too. See you later.
So that is Jacob Warmsley. What a great interview. A great character. And the Hawks, like Parramatta Plimpton, have just set this competition alight. Before we preview the semi-finals this weekend, Ranfurly Shield was played in Levin today, and the Wellington Lions took on Horowhenua Kapiti, winning 68 points to 7. It was 35-0 at halftime, and there were some key highlights from that game. There were 2 tries to Esi Samaki from Tawa, and both of those tries were impressive, particularly one in the eastern corner by the southern end, where he literally did a swan drive to go in there and score. TJ and Sam Clark, the brothers, of course, Sam at Parramatta Plimpton and TJ at Batoni, scored a try each and made their debuts as well. So a good occasion for the Clark family. Anthony Pettit, as mentioned, from Johnsonville, made his debut too. Aidan Morgan nearly got a full complement of kicks a goal. 9 from 10 today. And, of course, Sione Halaleo, Dominic Bird, and Umanga Jensen, who was captain today, all had strong games. So the Wellington campaign getting off to a good start, and good to see some of the emerging club talent coming through. So hopefully we'll see a few of them playing in the Bunnings NPC. Now, of course, that 12th of August is the first game from memory, I think, and they take on Manawatu up there in Palmerston North. So, semi-final action, or effectively known on the Wellington Rugby draw, is the prelim semis. And we'll first look at the Hardham Cup. It's the battle of the eastern suburbs. It's Marist St. Pat's taking on Porniki. And that's a great rivalry, that one. The Catholics versus the Street Kids. And, of course, Marist won that game comfortably in the regular season of the Swindell. But Porniki have had some good wins of late, and they'll step up for this, particularly being a semi-final. So I imagine Marist St. Pat's will cover a live stream alongside Porniki as well. Good characters there at both clubs, particularly John Jackson. Hopefully he's commentating that game on Porniki live stream. It's been a while since the both of us have commentated a game together. Also, Batoni take on Huddle Boys Marist. Of course, Batoni winning the McBain Shield in the Swindell section. Hud, of course, have to go to the Batoni Rec this time, which is pretty waterlogged. We're covering that game on Huddy Sports, so the coverage of that will start on Saturday at 2:30. The Jubilee Cup, well, we mentioned it earlier, Johnsonville, Hell Park. They've already put out the call for blue to pack out Hellstone Park. And they got Oriental Rongotai, who, as mentioned earlier, with Jacob, Johnsonville bet them 29 points to 26. And we're also covering that game on Huddy Sports as well. So we're bringing you 2 live streams this weekend. It's going to be a pretty special occasion at Hell Park, and also a special occasion for Parramatta Plimpton, who take on Old Boys University, who they played in the Swindell Shield final. Pretty much, that's what it was called. And Te Poko o Te Ika on 1161 AM, 87.6 FM, and iHeartRadio will bring you that game on radio. And of course, first 15 action, we've got 2 catch-up games this Saturday as well. Mana College play host to Wellington College out at Mana, and Hutt International Boys School play Wairarapa College at the NZCIS. Now, these two games are quite important in the scheme of things. Mana, of course, at the bottom of the table, but Wellington College have to win their last 3 games with bonus points. They have to win them. And, of course, one of those opponents they've got to play the following week is Hutt International Boys School. So it's quite a difficult assignment for Wellington College. They can take in their form from quad 2 weeks ago. They can easily do it. And, of course, Hibs and Wairarapa College, a win for either of them in that game will probably book them a place in the semi-finals of the First 15 Premiership, which is roughly about 4 weeks away. Now, we've got an announcement for you. Huddy Sports, alongside Wellington Rugby and Grassroots Rugby, will be bringing you the Hardham and Jubilee Cup Finals live on Huddy Sports YouTube. So, a great achievement, and it's going to be free. It's going to be on YouTube, Huddy Sports, and we're going to bring you both games. So, 2 exciting finals, and looking at the semi-finals, well, we're going to get some good quality rugby as well. So, tune into that next weekend. But just a reminder about the games we are covering this Saturday. The Hardham Cup Semi-Final, Petone versus Huddle Boys Maris. Coverage of that starts at 2:30 p.m. And the Jubilee Cup Prelim Semi-Final, Johnsonville versus Ories. Also on Huddy Sports YouTube, 2:30 p.m. Join us next week, Wednesday, for episode 93, which will be our finals preview. And we look forward to having you all watching the Huddy Hui next week as well. Just a reminder, later on tonight, you'll be able to listen to this episode of the Huddy Hui on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Also, you'll be able to find it on Apple Podcasts as well, and iHeartRadio later on. So make sure you have a listen to that later on and share it around. So there's the 92nd episode of the Huddy Hui. All the best for the teens this weekend. Ciao for now.